McLaren has made a bold and defining decision that could completely reshape the 2025 championship fight between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. With just 6 races remaining, the team has officially abandoned its so-called papaya rules approach, meaning the gloves are now off. Both drivers have been given the freedom to race each other without any interference from the pit wall. This is a seismic shift in strategy for McLaren, who after securing the Constructors' Championship are now fully focused on letting their drivers battle for individual glory. The days of carefully managed fairness are over. McLaren is going old school, according to F1 photographer Kim Illman, who spoke directly to McLaren insiders after the Singapore Grand Prix. The team's decision has already been made clear. I spoke to a couple of people in the team tonight and they suggested that the gloves definitely will be off and papaya rules. Well, that's gone by the wayside too, Illman revealed on his YouTube channel. It's a stunning revelation that confirms what many suspected. McLaren's attempts to keep harmony between its drivers have backfired, creating more tension than balance. With the Constructors' title wrapped up, the team is now removing the leash, allowing Norris and Piastri to fight it out freely for the biggest prize in motorsport. This decision didn't happen in a vacuum. It comes after months of growing frustration from Piastri and his camp. Despite leading the championship, the Australian has been on the receiving end of multiple team calls that seem to favor Norris's title hopes. Mark Webber, Piastri's manager and a former Red Bull driver who's no stranger to political warfare within a team, has reportedly pushed for a change in approach. I don't think Mark Webber is going to be telling Oscar to play the team game for the rest of those 6 races. Illman added, I think it's going to be gloves off. Webber's influence and his understanding of what it takes to win a championship has clearly emboldened Piastri to take control of his destiny. Meanwhile, the media has added more fuel to the fire with misleading narratives about the Australian driver. Several outlets wrongly claimed that Piastri deliberately cut off team CEO Zak Brown on the radio after Singapore when Brown tried to congratulate him. In reality, Piastri had already powered down his car's systems when Brown began speaking. The timing delay between the live radio feed and the broadcast made it seem like he had intentionally muted the message. The truth was simple and entirely innocent, but that didn't stop critics from spinning it as another sign of arrogance. It's yet another example of the bias Piastri has faced all season long, where his actions are scrutinized harshly while Norris often receives more favorable coverage. Sky Sports' Ted Kravitz joined the growing chorus of experts criticizing McLaren's management approach. Comparing the modern team to the Ron Dennis-led McLaren of the past, Kravitz didn't hold back. Even Hakkinen and Coulthard under Ron Dennis. Yes, they had rules like don't hit each other, but they certainly wouldn't have had any of this let's try to make it fair by giving places back, he said. In trying to be fairer in this new, warm and cozy McLaren, they've actually created problems for themselves. In other words, by trying too hard to keep both drivers happy, McLaren may have unintentionally made everyone unhappy. Former Haas team principal Günther Steiner has also weighed in, offering a more pragmatic take. Speaking on the Red Flags podcast, he argued that McLaren should either let both drivers race freely or clearly back one contender, and since Piastri currently leads the standings, the logical choice should be him. Either you let them race or if you're worried about losing the championship, you have to make the call, Steiner said, and obviously that one guy is Piastri because he's got more points than Lando. Steiner warned that indecision could prove disastrous. If they lose the Drivers' World Championship now, then you've got 2 unhappy drivers. At least if you favor one, you've only got 1 unhappy driver. Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, has tried to keep the peace while defending his drivers. Following Piastri's radio outbursts in Singapore, Stella took a balanced stance, saying Mercedes too knows how destructive internal wars can be. They've been there with Hamilton and Rosberg. And Ferrari, they're waiting in the wings, ready to strike if McLaren implodes. The next few races will decide not just who wins the championship, but who survives it. If McLaren doesn't regain control soon, they could throw away a golden opportunity that's been a decade in the making. It's not just about points anymore, it's about legacy, pride, and control of the team's future. The aftermath of the Singapore Grand Prix didn't just end with bruised egos and tense radio messages, it has ignited a full-scale internal power struggle within McLaren. Behind closed doors, the atmosphere is thick with unease. Oscar Piastri, once the quiet rookie, has become a driver demanding respect and equal treatment. Lando Norris, the team's long-standing golden boy, feels the heat of being challenged on his own turf. What was once McLaren's greatest strength, a balanced, young and hungry driver lineup, has turned into a volatile rivalry threatening to split the team in two. Sources within the paddock suggest that meetings in the McLaren garage following Singapore were far from calm. Piastri's frustration reportedly boiled over when discussions about team strategy for the upcoming races began. He made it clear he would no longer accept being sacrificed for his teammates' benefit. Mark Webber, his manager, is believed to have had strong words with team boss Andrea Stella, reminding McLaren that Piastri as championship leader deserves the same support Norris has traditionally enjoyed. Meanwhile, Norris is said to have defended his actions on track, claiming that his aggressive approach is what got McLaren into the title fight in the first place. The divide between the two camps inside the team is now becoming difficult to hide. The timing couldn't be worse. With 6 races to go, McLaren should be celebrating their dominance over Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull. Instead, the Papaya garage feels like a battleground. Even team engineers are reportedly split over who to back, some aligning with Norris, who they've worked with for years, and others believing Piastri's calm precision gives the team the best chance at the title. The tension has reached a point where even small strategic calls like which driver gets the first pit stop are now seen through a political lens. Andrea Stella faces the toughest leadership challenge of his career. He knows that McLaren's long-awaited shot at a drivers' championship could crumble if he fails to control his driver's rivalry. Publicly, he's urged both to race smart and respect the team, but behind the scenes he's wrestling with a dilemma. Does he give both drivers full freedom to race and risk disaster, or impose strict team orders and risk alienating one of them? Either choice could define McLaren's next decade. Meanwhile, Red Bull and Mercedes are watching this implosion with quiet satisfaction. Max Verstappen's post-Singapore interviews hinted at confidence. He knows that every argument inside McLaren brings him closer to reclaiming the title. Red Bull's upgrades have started working again, and Verstappen's consistency means he could easily capitalize on any mistake from the McLaren duo. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, though no longer in the direct title hunt, have also taken advantage of McLaren's chaos, scoring valuable podiums while their rivals self-destruct. The next stop on the calendar, Austin, could be the true turning point. A sprint weekend means more points, but also more risk and more opportunities for strategy disagreements. McLaren's management is expected to implement clearer communication protocols between the two drivers, but whether that will hold under race pressure remains uncertain. Norris has traditionally thrived at the Circuit of the Americas, while Piastri's adaptability could once again surprise. The qualifying sessions will be crucial, as track position often dictates race outcome on this circuit. Fans and pundits are divided on who's in the right. Some argue that Norris's aggression is exactly what's needed to win championships, citing greats like Senna and Schumacher, who thrived on ruthless competitiveness. Others believe Piastri's measured approach and mental composure make him the true champion in the make. Social media has turned the McLaren garage into a civil war, with hashtags like Team Lando and Team Oscar trending after every race. Even neutral fans admit this rivalry is the most electrifying intra-team battle Formula One has seen in years. Beyond the immediate title implications, there's a deeper question haunting McLaren's leadership. Can two future world champions truly coexist in one team? History suggests not. From Prost versus Senna to Rosberg versus Hamilton, intense teammate rivalries have a way of destroying unity and success. McLaren, once burned by similar internal politics in the past, knows this pattern all too well, and yet they seem to be repeating history. Heading into the final stretch of the season, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every decision, every pit call, every defensive move on track could decide the world championship and the future of McLaren itself. If Norris and Piastri don't find a way to channel their rivalry into collective strength, they risk losing everything to Verstappen, the one driver who knows exactly how to turn chaos into opportunity. The 2025 Formula One Championship is no longer just a fight for points. It's a psychological war, a clash of egos and a test of leadership under fire. McLaren has the car, the speed and the drivers to win, but as the saying goes, sometimes your greatest enemy isn't across the paddock. It's the one sitting right next to you in the same garage.